This is Back to Business, the show that highlights entrepreneurs from the Highland and White Lake areas. Back to Business is brought to you by the Highland and White Lake Business Association. I'm Hunter, and today we have Alan Fox and Peter Worthman from Improvisation Incorporated. First off, tell me about your guys' business.
We are people who, Alan Fox and I, and by the way, there's another person who was not here today named Kara Troutman, and we'll talk a little bit about her. But yeah, we've been in the corporate world, Alan and I, for a little over 65 years.
That's together, not individually.
Yeah, right, just so we clarify that issue. My time was spent basically in labor relations, training, internal consulting, compensation planning, and that was basically where my focus was.
And I spent over half my career in training, organization development, leadership development, executive development, and so on.
And then, just so you know a little bit about Kara, she's an actress, been in the field for a little over 10 years, was on the faculty of Second City when they were here in Detroit. And in 2012, she won the Oscar Wilde Award for Best Actress in an Original Comedy Role.
And that's our corporate experience, but in addition to that, we've been in improv comedy for 10 years. We've performed at the Go Comedy Theater in Ferndale with a troupe for over a year and a half. We were there weekly. And I guess our corporate business has been probably about 5 years.
Yeah, something like that. And overall, our corporate business is to help organizations enhance their offsite meetings, workshop, training, and integrating improv comedy to make that happen.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit of what your business is?
Well, what it involves is working, as I said, with the organizations, finding out what their needs are, and then developing programs and performances to integrate within their business to help them have more effective kinds of meetings.
What motivated you guys to start this business?
We decided, we want to do something different. We got into improv comedy. And as we went through the classes and performed, what we realized is a lot of the principles that we would teach people in the corporation, certainly about leadership, were the principles of improv comedy. There was a lot of similarity, and we saw there would be a real advantage to combining those and doing improv comedy within organizations. Now, one of the advantages we certainly have is that there are others out there that are doing the same thing, but most of those companies are people that have their experience in improvisation. We have both corporate and improv experience, which really gives us an advantage in working in corporations because we understand what goes on in a corporation because we've been there, we've worked there, and so on.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, as an aside, and we don't have scientific analytical proof to establish this, but Alan and I feel that we are actually the two oldest improv comedians in the state of Michigan.
Right.
Still living. So.
Are there those?
Well, I don't know. Who knows? But, I thought I'd share that thought.
Sure.
What does a performance by Improvisation Incorporated look like?
Well, first off, what's critical to that is that we spend time with the client, find out what they're looking for. If they have an off-site meeting, for instance, what's the purpose of that meeting? If the meeting is successful, what will that look like? And then we establish how we can help them attain those goals and actually enhance the quality of the meeting.
What are the benefits to companies that use your services?
One of the real benefits is that it breaks down the barriers to communications at these off-site workshops and meetings. What we've found working in corporations, when people attend meetings or workshops, there are these sort of imposed barriers that are created. Maybe their boss is in the meeting and they're not as comfortable saying the things they want to say. Maybe there are people from other departments that there's some issues between them. And what we do through the process that we use is we open up this communication that after our performance, people feel more comfortable in communicating and taking risks. And one particular example I could give you, we worked with a company where it was their annual meeting, their top 17 people in the company. And when we walked in, everyone was dressed casually except for the top person, the CEO. He had a tie and a vest and very formal. And we come in and we say, you know, why don't you take off your tie, no, I'm fine. And then we started our performance and we involve people, all the people that are there. We have games and we get them up. And there was one particular game that we do, which is called the alphabet game. Mm-hmm. And in this game, we do a scene, and the first person that starts the scene, whatever he says, has to start with the letter A. So I might say, are you feeling well today? And then the next person, whatever they say, starts with the letter B. And in doing this, somebody's going to mess up. It's just natural. Well, he volunteered for that scene. And when he got up there, he took off his tie and he took off his coat, and he happened to mess up. And everyone loved it. And what we were told the next day by the consultant that was working with the group, that people were much more open in dealing with him. That just by him doing that, people felt more comfortable in the room with him, and they didn't hold back. And it really increased the levels of communication in the meeting. And that's really one of the advantages to using improv comedy in a situation like that.
Yeah, and on a more personal note for an individual themselves, because one of our parts of our performance is creating a commercial. And this, when we did a feedback session at the end of it, asked, you know, what people got out of it. This one woman said, because she had volunteered to come on stage and do this, she said, I never thought I was able to do this. I've never done anything in front of a group of people. And she was really excited about it, that, by God, I've got that capability. So that's pretty cool.
What are the rewards that you get from owning your own business?
Well, one thing, it's our own business.
Right.
I mean, we're the bosses, and we can go in a lot of different directions, and we have control over how we want to operate and what we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the independence of owning your own business, and success or failure is really based on you and what you do in that business. The other thing, and you know, certainly both of us have done this for years in different ways, but it's helping leaders. It's helping leaders be more effective in what they're doing, whether it's in a meeting or whether it's in a workshop, but helping them achieve the goals that they want to achieve in that meeting and breaking down the barriers that may keep them from achieving those goals.
Yeah, and there are financial rewards as well, so we don't...
we won't deny that.
Yeah, we appreciate that as well, for sure.
Now, I know there are some qualities that can be learned in a book that help you in this business, like being a friendly and helpful person. What are some qualities that you guys feel are very important to have for this business?
Well, one thing for sure is you gotta feel comfortable in front of a group and really enjoy performing. I mean, that's a critical piece of it.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to be willing to take risks. You have to be willing to get on, if it's on the stage or in front of a group, and make a total fool of yourself, which both of us have on various occasions. You know, I think you, as Peter said, you just need to be comfortable with people. And some people aren't comfortable in standing up and performing. Both of us really are. And I think that's really one of the characteristics that...
And I think what also helps, and clearly Ellen and I have that, is you got to have a sense of humor.
Absolutely.
I mean, things can get pretty sticky sometimes, but with improv, and you've got that basic sense of humor, that really helps and it improves the performance.
You know, there's a lot of research out there about play. And I know sometimes it's, especially when I did this with Ford, it's terrifying when you're getting up there in a group of executives, and basically you're going to make a fool out of yourself, and you're going to ask them in some ways to do the same, to get up and to do stupid things. The thing that has always amazed me is people enjoy it. I don't care what level they are in an organization. You get them up there, they enjoy it, and they're having fun. And there's something also about fun and learning. I know there've been sporting events, the Super Bowl, that I've listened on the TV, and at halftime, they'll go to the coach and they'll say, what are you going to do different in the second half? And one of the things the coach might say, and I've heard him say, is they're just going to tell the guys to have fun. And I never really thought about it. What is it about fun that helps people learn more effectively and learn better? And the thing is, I believe about fun is it opens them up. It opens them up to communicate better. It opens them up to learning. And that's what we've found over and over. And the comments we've gotten consistently from our clients is that they really had fun, but they learned something. And it changed their views, and it changed the meeting. The meetings became more effective. The workshops became more effective.
And I think one other thing to show the depth of this impact on people, some of the business schools literally teach improv comedy. There are workshops and courses that they have developed for what hopes to be future executive leaders, to get them into that, to allow them to look at their own creativity and their spontaneity in situations. And so that's become part of the academic regimen.
In their MBA programs.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of schools are offering improv comedy in there. You know, it teaches people to be creative. It teaches people about thinking outside the boundaries. It teaches you to be more spontaneous. One of the things we talk about in improv comedy when we introduce it is there's no script. Basically, you know, it's off the top of your head. You get an idea and you go with it. But if you think about business, there's no script in business. You don't come in the morning with this is exactly what I'm going to say, and someone's going to call me and they're going to say this. There's no script, and that's really what improv comedy is about.
What is the biggest challenge that you face in your business?
Well, the biggest one really is from a marketing point of view, and it's the idea that we sell this with the items that we've talked about, how it's beneficial, but you've got to have somebody understand it, and they have to experience it without experiencing it. And we have found for those that have come back and give us feedback and say, yeah, you know what, this did make a difference in the meeting, how we interacted with each other, and the kind of results we were looking for.
It's really, we've talked to a lot of people about this, a lot of consultants, and they seem to get it intellectually. They understand what we're saying about breaking down barriers because they've experienced it. But until they actually see it happen and see groups get involved and how they do get involved and the impact it has, it's really difficult to get that across just in talking about it. You really have to experience it.
Do you guys perform for parties and family gatherings and other things like that?
Absolutely.
Yes, you bet. We do birthday parties, bar mitzvahs,
retirement
parties, township Christmas parties. So, oh yeah, we're available.
When people want to have fun. In fact, you know, in organizations too, we'll just come in for entertainment. Sometimes all they're interested in, you know, they've had a 2-day workshop or 2-day meeting, and they just want to have some fun and some entertainment, which doesn't tie to their business at all. Just have a good time. So we'll come in and do that. There are a lot of ways you can use improv comedy in an organization. You can tie it to leadership. You can tie it to skill building, and outside, as we said, through social events and so on. So
and one other thing that's really critical and is what this also teaches is how to listen to each other, which is so crucial to communication. Because when you're up there performing, you've got to hear what the other person is saying. And that ties into working more as a team. And so that's always beneficial to people in organizations.
How do people and organizations get a hold of you guys?
Well, we're in the process of working on a website, so we don't have a website right now. We will shortly. But if anyone in the listening audience is interested, they can contact us through email at abfoxa@aol.com.
Alan and Peter, thank you for being part of the show today.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you guys at home for watching. This program is brought to you by the Highland White Lake Business Association and is produced by the Lakeland High School Video Production Classes. Now get back to business.